She raked in more than $1 billion and is somehow now in debt.
Whatever you thought of that campaign with celebrities lining up to back Kamala for a variety of reasons, it certainly didn't work, and it was certainly very expensive. Let's have a look now at Fox News' report on how that $1 billion was spent and was actually largely ineffective.
We learned two things about Kamala this election. She's good at raising money and she's good at blowing it. But money can't buy you elections, especially when you spend it like she did. She raked in more than $1 billion and is somehow now in debt. The Washington Examiner dug through her financial statements and gave us a good clue why. Kamala's campaign was getting whacked like a piñata while D.C. leeches hoovered up all the cash. She spent over $50 million on payroll. Trump's campaign spent less than 10. Another $12 million went to consultants, and $20 million went to their little concerts with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Christina Aguilera, John Bon Jovi, remember him? Campaign insiders are mad at the bosses for wasting donor money on concerts instead of ads about, the economy. Quote, they said they were spending to zero. I guess they overshot zero. Ads would have gone a lot further than the pricey celebrity endorsements. One campaign source said people were concerned about their own financial issues, not Oprah telling them America won't exist. But it worked out nicely for Oprah. She got her friend Kamala to pay her $1 million to interview her in September. $1 million. Kamala scared donors by calling Trump a dictator, got $1 billion, then just gave it to her friends and blew the rest on being a diva. Kamala went on a podcast, remember Call Her Daddy? But she didn't want to go to their studio in L.A. So she made the host fly to D.C. and used campaign cash to build a fake set in a hotel room. She spent more than $100,000 to build it. That set, see it? 2 chairs, a coffee table, and a bookshelf. So she's still trying to soak folks for cash. 24 hours after the election, on Wednesday, Democrats got a text from the campaign. Urgent. We need help. Donate now. Help with what? You lost. If this is how she's going to spend her donors' dollars, imagine what she would have done with our taxes.
In the run-up to the election, what we were talking about on our channel is how will what we learned in 2016 through the election of Donald Trump and the Brexit vote in the UK play out in 2024? Will we learn that new media, social media environments have been captured, are sufficiently censored to control their impact? Or will we learn that we are indeed in a new world when it comes to messaging? The legacy media, centralized media, have lost their stranglehold over the minds, hearts, and, of course, throats of the population and electorate. But it's actually broader than that, isn't it? Like, that celebrity itself now seems ineffective. It seems odd to say it because, like Tucker Carlson say and Joe Rogan are middle-aged men. But it appears that figures like Rogan and Tucker Carlson are more impactful than, say, J-Lo or Taylor Swift. Probably not if you're a 10-year-old girl, I don't imagine. I reckon you're probably more into Taylor Swift. I don't know. How could I possibly know? I'll ask my own daughters. But celebrity itself now is perhaps correctly regarded as less significant and influential when it comes to political matters. The idea that we would sort of care about, what George Clooney reckons or any one of a number of Democrat endorsing politicians. It just seems like it's changed, right? Say, Hub, so the election was like a Christmas gift to Hollywood. Yeah, like a lot of people don't care no more, huh? It's interesting.
The truth is, this is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. Actually, it was $1,018 million, I think, right? There were $20 million or $18 million in debt.
Right.
It's incredible. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled. And even on the night of election night, Will, I looked somebody in the eye and I said, are we going to do this? Are we going to pull it off? She told me yes. And I asked somebody else, like, how are you feeling? He's like, we're going to win Iowa. And I was like, what?
Do you think did they believe this going in? Was there a real sense of false confidence on the side of Kamala Harris, or did they know they were in store for disaster?
I was wondering about that. I was like, I asked them, are you privy to internal numbers that I am not seeing? Because I study this so carefully, and I just wasn't seeing any basis for that level of confidence. And I also want to remind our viewers that, the Trump campaign was touting all of these incredible empirical data weeks before election night. What Harris is touting was the door knocking. She didn't say anything really about early voting. Now I know it's because there was nothing much to say.
What has been the relationship throughout the campaign, and what do you think the relationship is today between Biden world and Kamala Harris world?
Well, I have friends, in both worlds, and let me tell you, the relationship was terrible even before the campaign. There was backstabbing. They wanted to hand her the most, least favorable agenda, the legislative priorities. She was stuck with immigration, civil rights, like none of that went anywhere.
Before she was even a candidate,
exactly.
you're saying, as vice president.
There was a lot of backstabbing we saw in the press. People were leaking stuff all the time. The White House was leaking like a sieve when it came to Kamala Harris. And finally, in the final year, she was able to stabilize and stop the bleeding of her staff because there was a lot of turnover as well. And we saw the press reports about that. And things have finally started to calm down. And I actually think President Biden, the whole endorsing her 30 minutes after he dropped out, I think that was a big FU to the party. You don't want me, here's somebody that you may not like.
Do you think that it was pretty fascinating when you'd see people like Barack Obama saying, congratulations on a campaign well fought? Of course, the result didn't go the way we wanted it to go, but nevertheless, it was a well fought campaign. And did you see how similar Kamala's concession speech was to Hillary's? Did you notice that? And does that sort of further make you feel that what you're dealing with is a kind of centralized, almost already AI bureaucratic entity where the figure that's at the forefront don't really matter because it's just a cipher for an ulterior message? That's what globalism in part indicates, isn't it? That you could be in Canada under Trudeau, Britain under Starmer, the US under Kamala, France under Macron, and ultimately the messaging you receive will be globalist messaging. What do I mean by that? That there are certain global entities and power that are subverting national sovereignty. When there was first the reaction to nativism, the America First movements, France First movements, Algeria First movements, people started saying racism is at the core of this. Racism and misogyny. But of course, what's at the core of this is the rejection of global authoritarianism, the tyranny that we must truly, if not fear, be aware of and alert to. This is the real threat. Trump's election may be many things, and I'm sure a lot of commentators will say that it's a variety of things. Some people will say it's the coming of Armageddon. Some harbingers will claim these are the final days, the last trumpet sound. But others will point to the fact that it's a disruption in a project of globalism that likely began, or at least began in earnest, with Clinton in your country, Blair in mine, an attempt to use the language of social care and social justice to mask an agenda that was about control and never about help. Well, people are rejecting it, regardless of how well or expensive a campaign a well-run campaign may have been, and how much it may have cost. For me, it's fascinating to see an entire electorate rejecting a pantheon of celebrities, ignoring media messaging. It's incredible to see a candidate overcome what has come to be known as lawfare, one of the neologisms of our age, where the judiciary itself, institutions that are by their nature meant to be arbiters of universal principles, righteousness, justice, morality, and good, being politically deployed. That's what we're seeing now, the capture of institutions. And indeed, doesn't that align rather neatly with Mike Benz's analysis that when people say democracy, inverted commas, now, what they mean is not the process of the will of the people, the will of the electorate, enacted through the ballot box. They mean a set of institutions that are centrally controlled and regarded, in my view incorrectly, as sacred. Cybercrime. It's the third largest economy. I wonder what the first one is. Military industrial complex, big pharma. Is it big tech? I don't know. But the third biggest one is cybercrime, and it targets like emails, social media passwords. Even AT&T announced that hackers had compromised all of their customers' text and call records. That's us, that's me, that's you. Bunker is an affordable all-in-one app protecting you and me against identity theft, fraud, surveillance, all stuff that you don't want, including patent-pending secure messaging, password management, and secure cloud storage. Why pay for different applications when you can protect yourself with Bunker for $12 annually? It's not much, is it? That's $1 a month. Let me divide that into weeks, 27. It's not much. Bunker is owned and operated by security professionals with a history of protecting the public against cyber criminals and surveillance. Bunker, they believe that people should be empowered to focus on what matters most, security and privacy in day-to-day life. For a limited time, Bunker's offering a 1-year free trial for you, friends, and family. That's if you sign up today. You've got to sign up today. You can have it free for a year. So download Bunker from the App Store or Play Store using the offer code BRAND, all caps, to get the first year for free. Thank you. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.